Hey, what's up, stream keepers, and welcome back to my channel. So thanks for again. My opening speech is always the same. Thank you for the encouragement. And in this video, I wanted to give a special shout out to somebody in Sweden, and he actually sent me a picture that shows a tank that's written. I put it right here. It says Bois Benny. So it means that he's actually trying to allocate one tank. In the future when there's an opportunity that he will actually get the streams from me, and it will be very interesting in that sense that somebody would actually allocate or get the tanks ready way before we actually talk about the streams. So thank you again for the dedication, and I wanted to give a special shout out to you. So alright, so in today's video, I actually wanted to talk to you guys about the four rules in the stream journey. So these four rules are actually not just for streams; it also can apply to life as well. So I just wanted to share with you guys the four rules that actually applies to my stream breeding journey, and also this entire hobby. So the number one rule actually is about having a vision and a goal. Basically what I'm trying to say is that you want to have a direction where you want to go, and every year you can actually have a goal that you actually want to set and progress on in a hobby. And I think one of the reasons is because as you set goals for yourself, you actually give yourself some motivation to actually work towards it, and in that sense you also learn along the way. You get to know more people, you get to know more in depth on certain information, and one of the reasons for doing so is because as you stop learning, then you stop growing. So every time when I in my spare time, I would actually read some science journals and stuff like that, in terms of water parameters, in terms of bacteria counts and stuff like that. So it helps me improve slowly, bit by bit, slowly but surely. So having a goal is also very important in the direction, and one of my vision, I'm sure you guys know that the 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 vision for me is that actually share this information, to share as much information as I can from what I have learned from Taiwanese, and then so that everybody can actually benefit and be on the same level playing field, right? So it doesn't just benefit me myself, because I would think that at the end of the day, I'm not going to bring all this information with me. So might as well I share all this information with you guys, and I think that is one of my visions and the direction. And of course, the goals that actually help me get nearer and nearer to that direction. So that's number one. So that's the vision, and I've seen many. I mean, it is fine that you just want to have a hobby and you want to keep them and enjoy looking at them. I think that's perfectly fine. And however, if let's say you want to really go deep into it and you want to be successful in breeding streams and learning more about it, you can actually set yourself small goals, like even very small goals, like, oh, I want to have an additional tank next year, and I want to be breeding maybe a pure red line, or I want to venture into boars, I want to venture into black fancy tiger. So these are some of the goals that you can constantly give yourself, and then over the years it helps to keep the hobby alive, and so you have something new to always look forward to. So that's number one, having a goal. um, I have actually also seen some of the goals and some of the visions that others have set, and there's no right and wrong of it. And I think as long as you have a vision, a direction as on where you want to go, I think that is really good, and you can actually work towards that, because even the greatest ship without a direction is just floating around in the sea. So that's number one. Number two is working hard, right? So working really hard in terms of your hobby. If you really want to be successful in having a certain type of stream that you want to really breed them well, and all that. So you have to do the tank resets, you have to do so you have to do quite a lot of things, the water changes and stuff like that. So there is actually hard work involved in it. And I think you know, I have also seen people saying that, oh, I don't have time to actually reset my tank, or they start to give themselves reasons and for not resetting their tank. And they say, oh, because my tank has been there for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and it's been breeding. Yes, I know that it is breeding. However, if you look back into where the optimum level of the breeding happens, it's usually not in the fifth year or neither in the third or fourth year. So it usually happens in the optimum level of breeding usually happens depending on the, you know, different tank is, they have different time duration. So for my tank, usually it will peak around 6 months. During the 6 months period, it will peak, the breeding will peak, and then it will slowly go downhill as it goes to 8 months, 9 months, and up to a year. And that is when I really, you know, get myself and start resetting my tanks. So there's a lot of hard work involved in resetting our tanks. So that is also why the reason why I set up, you know, all my tanks in a very a simple manner. So what I do is that although there's quite a lot of plants in there, but actually they are all kept in a pot, right? So in a pot they are actually contained in there, and all I have to do is I just have to remove the pot, and over a year or so, I will change the soil from the pot, and then put in new soil, trim the roots, and let them regrow again. And of course I remove some of the leaves of this Echinodorus. They do not grow very wildly, and they are rosette plants, so I actually pick them for that sole purpose, because they are easy to maintain, they don't grow out of hand, and they are very easy to keep as well. So working hard, number two. So that's rule number two that you have to do, is you have to really work very hard. If you really want to be good in terms of your stream breeding, you have to make the extra effort to do things that people don't do. Like for example, people like to, like I say, delay the reset of tank. They like to prolong their water changes. They want to mix a lot of things in the tank. They want to have that chemistry lessons in their tank. So it becomes very difficult in that sense, because it is far easier to actually, you know, mix things and put things in the tank and try to put a band-aid in there, rather than you know, really keeping yourself you know, not having the itchy hand syndrome. That's how I would put it. You know, leave the tank alone. Although it may sound easy, but I think that's the most difficult part of it, because people like to see things and have things or have results instantly, which I believe that this is due to a lot of this you know, quick fix, social media, and people want instant success. So but however, I don't think for streams we can actually push that, because stream need time to breed, they need to grow, and then through selective breeding it still take time. So in that instance, I would say that, you know, rather than having a quick fix, it is more important to actually restrain yourself to adding too many things in the tank, that will cause chemical imbalance in the tank, and because when you add things in the tank, it's almost impossible for you to actually remove that content from the tank. Like for example, if let's say you're going to add in some liquid, and it goes in your tank, and you realize that there's a problem, how are you going to remove it? The next thing you're going to do is you either going to change your water, you're going to change a lot of your water, and then you're going to add carbon in there. So you start doing things that, you know, if you would have not add that in the tank, then you probably wouldn't have to do all the other things in future. Well, I would say that you would probably want to learn and try in another tank, but not your, you know, your main breeding tank, because trying, I think it is important. However, as we can see that there's a lot of products in the market that are actually more or less similar, and the products that I've used so far is really about I think less than a few of it. I cannot even. So it's the Hua food. I use the Lupao, the Calyx ball, and I use the GH plus remineralizer, and I use the natto bacteria powder. Other than that, I basically I don't add anything else to it. So that's one of the things that I think having self restraint, I think that's important. So that's also hard work, not doing anything. So but having to reset your tanks, to and water change, I think that's very important. So that's hard work. And the third rule that I'm going to share with you is actually ignore the naysayers. I think in this stream hobby there's a lot of talks and fights among each other, among people. I think one of the reasons for having that to happen is different perspective, different ways of keeping stream. There is no one right way or one best way. I think the better method that suits you would be good, as long as it produces results. And of course there's a range and a multiple, or there's a lot of information online, and it also creates confusion between people. Who should I trust? I read 2 or 3 or 4 different opinions. Who should I try? Who should I trust, right? I think one of the general rule that I often use is that, other than trying yourself, I think the first cut is to siphon out the information by looking at their streams. There are a lot of information out there given by many people, but however, I think one of the ways to, for me at least, is to actually look at their streams. If they are really what they say they use, then they are able to actually share and show results in terms of what they have been using, right? Just case in point, for example, the Lupao or the Calyx ball, I have very great success with a lot of breeders. They have thanked me, personally thanked me, and saying that your product has made a lot of big changes to my breeding setup, and they have really helped my streams breed really really well, that I've never seen that before. So I think those are very good encouragement as well. However, there's also the flip side of it, right? So when people start to misuse it, or they are not sure about it, how to use it, instead of asking questions, they kind of like point a finger at the product and say that it's not good, it's going to destroy your tank and stuff like that. So I've been using the Lupao and the Calyx ball for very very long, and before I even share it with my friends and even share it with the rest of the people in Europe and the US and globally, I have actually tested it for at least 3 years in very good high grade stream tanks, and we are talking about thousands of dollars of streams per streams in those tanks, and that is the type of trial I will use it on myself before I actually share it with the rest, and then I can be very confident that the product is safe for usage. So what I'm trying to say here is that you have to ignore the naysayers, because if you listen to them, then you will not get to where you want to be, right? And this is the same for your life as well. If you keep, people will only tell you that no, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you will never achieve this, you will never achieve that. But I think you shouldn't be listening to the naysayers, and be confident in terms of where you want to go. And of course, being confident is not being arrogant. So you have to be humble and understand and learn the perspective of others, and then from there you can actually continue your journey, because there will be a lot of distractions, there will be a lot of people trying to pull you down in any of these instances, be it because of there's profit, there's dispute, or they want to have a say in it, or anything. It can be any reasons, right? However, I think one of the things that we want to really really look forward is you run your own race, because those people do not define who you are. You are what you define who you are. right? So you can feel down for a certain period of time, but I think you should always stand up and keep fighting and keep going forward, because there will always be naysayers as as you progress on. So that's a case in point. And also, there will always be people who betrays you, or lie to you, or eventually you trust that person so much, and then they turn their backs on you. I mean, there will be times like that, right? So just be yourself and run your own race. I think that's very important. And really, the third rule about ignoring the naysayers is very, very important. People will tell you everything to say that their product is better, everything. And they will promise you the world and all that. So I think there's a lot of reasons behind it. And I think we shouldn't be listening to the naysayers. So just keep running your race. Do not look to the left or right. You keep looking forward, and strive towards your vision. So that's number 3. So the number 4th point is actually one of the most important point of all. Not saying that the rest of the rules are not important, but the 4th rule is actually very, very important. And it's very and personally, for that 4th rule, it links to the first one as well. The 4th rule is to give something back instead of just taking, right? So I have been on the receiving end in terms of in this journey. I have in the last 10 years, even when I started, when I was many years ago, more than 10 years ago, I would say that, when I started the aquarium hobby, and I wanted to learn, at that point of time, there's no such thing as the internet. So I wanted to search for something, the data is not there. Then I started asking people, and at that time, the community is very closely knitted, and it's very good. They share a lot of things with me, and I constantly ask them a lot of questions, and they share with me. And fast forward to today, there's a lot of more information now than in the past. However, I also get the benefit of learning firsthand from Taiwanese breeders who are very good breeders, like Hoa, like Skyfish. I learn from them, and it's not just a few texts, a few emails, a few calls, but over time, over many years, I've learned from them, and consistently learning from them as well. And I feel that I should also pay this forward for the time that they have shared with me. And then that's the reason why I've also take this opportunity to share it with you. And that's the 4th rule, to give back something to the society, give something back to the community. That will actually help you, and also help the rest of the community actually gain a much better understanding of the stream hobby, and to actually bring the entire stream knowledge level of everybody much higher, and we can actually enjoy the hobby much more in that sense. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why I wanted to share with you guys these 4 rules. It can apply to not just only your stream hobby, but it also can apply to your daily life as well. And to summarize, so having a vision, number 1, having a vision, have a goal, where you want to go. And number 2, you have to put in the hard work. You have to reset your tanks. You have to be sure that you don't have that itchy hand syndrome. You don't want to put this and that, creating a lot of things, and then you try to remove them from the tank, but it's adding more things, trying to remove something. So that's number 2. Number 3, ignore the naysayers, right? You don't want those naysayers to actually pull you down, and then affect your stream hobby, your enjoyment in this hobby. I think that's very critical. And the 4th point is to not only take, but give back something to the community. I think that's critical, because giving back something to the community will actually help the entire community benefit from it. And more and more people will actually be enjoying the hobby more, rather than bickering over whose product is better, whose stream is better. I think sharing that information, sharing that data, sharing that experience that you have with the rest freely, I think that is important. I do know that there are some feedback from others saying that, you know, hey Ben, you have been sharing a lot of information. Why don't you consider, you know, monetizing or even putting it on other platforms where that you can actually get money out of it. I really appreciate that. At this point of time, I don't think I have that thought, but I would consider in future if there's a need. However, you know, thanks for the comments as well, the encouragement, and of course the direction and the recommendation that you guys have been sharing with me all along. I really appreciate that. So thank you guys, and thank you for this for listening in. And if you really like my video, remember to give a thumbs up. Leave comments below on what you would like to hear next and what you would like to learn next in terms of the stream hobby. I will gladly share with you guys, and thank you very much. Just before I finish this video, I just wanted to say a disclaimer is that, you know, the time that you guys see this video is usually 6 weeks or sometimes even 8 weeks later, you know. So because I do my videos in batches, and in one sitting I can do actually quite a number of videos, and I edit them as I go along. And that's the reason why sometimes when I because all these videos will be scheduled and they're published automatically on YouTube. So sometimes the content that is being shared out there is a little bit of a delay in that sense. But however, you guys, if you guys have any, you know, videos that you would like to see or content that you like to hear, please note that, you know, I would try to, you know, allocate and schedule your video first. I can move them around. However, if there's nothing, I will the normal process is that I would have at least 6 to 8 videos being scheduled over the next week. So I actually release them weekly, and that's and if you have any videos that you guys really want to see, I will just reposition them. So thank you very much, and peace out.